Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Ryan G. De La Roca, and my group number is group number 4. So, my topic for tonight is about educational existentialism and educational essentialism. So, we will first talk about the educational existentialism. So, what is educational existentialism? From the Latin words existere, meaning to stand out, so existence means the fact or state of living or having objective reality. So back in the educational existentialism, it is an approach to teaching and learning that focuses on the individual's freedom to choose their own purpose in life. They believe there's no God or higher power. They encourage all students to create their own meaning of life. There appears to be no preordained meaning of life. Humans are free to choose how they will live. So existentialism believes that there is no God, and the people are free to choose their own purpose in life, or a human is not determined by laws of nature. So here are some factors that affect the freedom of choice of any person. So first is influence of the family, especially the parents. Influence of peers and associates, religious orientation, social approval, cultural patterns, financial status, psychological traits, especially intelligence, health and physical fitness, sex, and education. So the next is teachers in existentialism. So what do the teachers in existentialism do? So is the teachers in existentialism is there to provide pathways for students to explore their own values, meanings, and choices. Learners must be aware of as many options and choices as possible. They need to feel empowered and free to determine their own values and identities, and they need a multiplicity of experiences to enhance their self-awareness. This only means that an existentialist teacher is not the center of the instruction but rather a facilitator. Their goal is to help students better understand who they are who they are as individuals. This also means that the students have a choice in what they learn, and the other roles of teachers are to help students define their own essence by exposing them to various paths they take in life, to create an environment in which they freely choose their own preferred way, to relate with each student openly and honestly. So, the next is what are the roles of students in existentialism? They freely choose what subjects they want to study as long as they're interested in it, to define their own essence or meaning of life. So, here are some examples of the existentialist philosopher or the key existentialist philosophers. So, first is Soren Kierkegaard, was a Danish philosopher, theologian, poet, social critic, and religious author who is widely considered to be the first existentialist philosopher. So Soren was the first existentialist philosopher. Next is Friedrich. He was a German philosopher, essayist, and cultural critic. His writings on truth, morality, language, aesthetics, cultural theory, history, nihilism, power, consciousness, and the meaning of existence have exerted an enormous influence on Western philosophy and intellectual history. The third one is Martin Heidegger, German philosopher and a seminal thinker in the continental tradition of philosophy. He is best known for contributions in phenomenology, hermeneutics, and existentialism. So he is the third one of the key existentialist philosophers. And last is Jean-Paul Sartre. He is a French philosopher, playwright, novelist, screenwriter, political activist, biographer, and literary critic. He is one of the key figures in the philosophy of existentialism and phenomenology, and one of the leading figures in 20th century French philosophy and Marxism. So, the next one is about educational essentialism. It is an educational philosophy whose adherents believe that children should learn the traditional basic subjects thoroughly. The aim is to instill students with the essentials of academic knowledge, enacting back-to-back basics approach. This ensures that the accumulated wisdom of our civilization in the traditional academic disciplines is passed on from the teacher to student. So essentialism tries to instill all students with the most or essential basic knowledge and skills and character development. This traditional approach is meant to instill all students with the most essential basic knowledge and skills. Essentialism is an approach assuming that people and things have natural and essential common characteristics which are inherent, innate, and unchanging. Thus, it is regarded as an educational philosophy. So, let's go to essentialism as a teacher. So, what is essentialism? What is the teacher? What is the role of the teacher in essentialism? The teacher should be rigid and disciplinary. The role of the teacher as the leader of the classroom is very important. Effective teaching cannot take place in a disorganized environment. The teacher must interpret and take the leadership position to set the tone of the classroom. This requires an educator that is academically well qualified with an appreciation for learning and development. The teacher distributes rewards and penalties. So, essentialism is teacher-oriented. So, one of the key characteristics a teacher must have in essentialism is leadership to get the attention of the students and organize them. An example of essentialism would be lecture-based introduction classes at universities. Students sit and take notes in a classroom which holds over 100 students. They take introductory level courses in order to introduce them to the content. The teachers tries to instill all students with the most essential or basic academic knowledge, skills, and character development. So essentialism provides with strong basic education such as reading, writing, listening, speaking, and others. So as we see today, it has largely contributed to the educational field, enabling students to develop a sound foundation of basic knowledge. So here the two essentialists. The two essentialists are William Bagley, 1874 to 1946. He was an important historical essentialist during April 1938. He published the Essentialists Platform, in which he outlined three major points of essentialism. He described the right of students to a well-educated and culturally knowledgeable teacher. Secondly, he discussed the importance of teaching the ideas of community to each group of students. And lastly, Bagley wrote of the importance of accuracy, trueness, and effort on the part of the student in the classroom. So William Bagley was the first essentialist. And second is Eric Donald Hirsch Jr. He was the founder and chairman of the Core Knowledge Foundation and authored several books concerning fact-based approaches on education. So I hope you learned something today about existentialism and essentialism. So that's all, and thank you.